Hello, Jamie. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, so as I mentioned in the intro, you actually stepped up when I said, "Hey, is there someone out there that just like to talk about that whole strange moment of the sugar freedom experiment that we all did?" And it was funny in my world. It was pretty funny because I realized how, well, I guess how addicted people get to sugar, and it was a tough one. What do you think?
It's definitely a tough one. And addiction, it's kind of a word that I kind of pulled back from. I'm like, I'm not addicted to sugar. Yeah, yeah. It was an unknowingly thing. It sneaks into your food and you just don't quite realize it. But yeah, it's a little hard to admit because everybody likes a sweet treat.
Right? No, it's true. It's very true. And it addiction is like such a tough word. Like I just throw that word out there to kind of like tweak people, but at the same time, I mean, we're not going to go down the whole sugar freedom thing right now, but we are definitely as a society or taught to enjoy sugar. I just grabbed my chewable vitamins and there's sugar in them, right? It's everywhere.
It
So
is.
let me ask you this. Prior to doing the sugar freedom experiment, what was your biggest fitness challenge around it?
Around sugar,
Yeah.
I had realized its impact on my energy
Oh,
and how I kind of that 3 o'clock lull at work, and I would grab the bag of cookies or a soda or sugar loaded coffee, and then I would realize after work, after dinner, whatever, whenever my workout was going to be, is I just didn't have the energy because I think I was coming down off of that sugar high. And so it was impacting my energy level to do the workout or sometimes even just to go enjoy the evening.
okay. Yep. Energy is a big one, isn't it? Like it's a big one. What about any other challenges just straight across the board, fitness wise or health wise?
Another challenge, there was weight issues that I had put on enough weight that I just wasn't as comfortable doing some of the exercises. Maybe my position on the bike wasn't as comfortable because I had that little bit more around my middle section. Or maybe I noticed it when I was running, but I'm like, oh, I just feel kind of heavier.
Yeah.
And so those were little bits of just mental and maybe a little bit of physical deterrent as well.
Yeah. It kind of chews at you, really.
It does. It's
Yeah.
just always reminding you the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I mean, it's like well, so we're doing this when we're making this recording when we're still like, the world is still trying to figure out what the heck we're doing with this pandemic. And we did the sugar freedom. I think the first time we did it was about a year in, and almost everyone had been like, whoa, I've put on weight because I put on weight, and there's the stress, there's the sugar, there's the extra eating, there's the not sleeping properly. I mean, it was just everything, right? It's kind of like layer upon layer upon layer, and makes it's. And I guess the other thing is too, someone, I don't think it was you didn't say this, but someone else said it, was that when she was gaining weight, the more weight she gained, the more depressed she would get, so the more she would eat.
Absolutely
And it
true. I
happened.
didn't say it, but I experienced it.
Right. I mean, I've experienced it. Like I totally get it. It's kind of a pain. It's pain in the gut and it's pain in the butt. So, okay. Did you have concerns or objections or worries about doing the whole sugar freedom experiment?
No, no, I didn't because I treated it as an experiment. I had done not completely off of sugar before, but I had been through stints on my own where I had played with it,
Hmm.
and knew that there was definitely changes to come with it, good changes. Um, but it's hard by yourself. and kind of the guidance and the support. You know, I was doing it. Nobody else in my life was doing it. Actually, some of them kind of tempted me with sugar, I think, to just see what my strength and willpower was. But no, it was just an experiment. It's like, this isn't permanent. This isn't forever. It's not going to hurt me to give up sugar. We all know that. And, you know, we also, whether we've tried it or not, we know there are benefits to at least reducing the sugar.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really wasn't. It was just, let's just see what this is. Let's see how this works out.
Awesome. So how did it work out?
It was good. I still, yeah, okay, you know, that's been quite a few months ago, and no, I've had my bouts of not doing good, but I've learned a lot from it that sticks with me today. And so like I'm able to recognize when I'm having too much sugar and how I feel, how my sleep is, my, you know, energy levels. So there's a lot of things that I learned from that stick with me today, and kind of are that, you know, little voice on your shoulder that's going, hey, you might be overdoing it on this. Let's back off on the sugar. Especially when there's no other reason that my energy would be down, or I should, you know, I'm not sleeping well.
Right.
It's kind of like, well, okay, that common denominator is that sugar.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the thing is that we never went in this going never again, right? This is
we
never
did not.
again. I mean,
No.
there's the whole maintenance thing, and maintenance comes and maintenance goes. That's for sure, right?
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't. I'm trying to think of dates. I'm forgetting dates right now, but I know that one of the groups that went through it, we had some big thing coming up, some big holiday thing, and they were all like, "I'm off. I am totally off. I'm not playing this game. I'll come back and get back in next week." I'm like, of course, it's life.
Yes. I remember something like the Super Bowl or something like that, where there was just like this one day and they were like, no, this is just part of this thing that I do. And it's not right unless it involves lots of goodness.
Lots of goodness. I like that. Yeah. So we've talked about like maintenance, and you talked about the fact that you're now more aware of when your energy's slipping. Anything else? Anything else you've noticed it shift in your life?
Food selections is one of the things I noticed that during the sugar challenge, I realized where it was in food and how much it's in food and the quantity of it that's in food. So yeah, it's changed my choices on, you know, those condiments that you keep in the fridge that are the quick go-tos of the mustards, the ketchups, the salad dressings, the barbecue sauces. And just those things it's easy to find great tasting alternatives that don't have all of that in it. And so that helps me keep the sugar down. And, you know, I've talked about kind of how I feel when I have too much sugar. And part of it is like a mental focus as well.
Oh, yeah. Definitely brain.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, there are days when I'm like, what is going on? Okay. I stop and think, I'm like, I've been having way too much sugar, whether it's actually been in the form of like chocolates and sweets like that, or it's been in the form of soda. And it's easy for those things to creep in and to just grab those on the go. Or to have desserts. You get into a streak of eating out too much and just having the desserts, and, you know, then it's like, why am I still awake at midnight? And then realize it's because I've had the sweets so late in the day. So I also know kind of when I can have the sweets.
Yeah.
And having them late at night has definitely been an impact on just sort of the sleep and how I feel. And if I wake up groggy, sometimes I kind of feel hungover when I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, oh, there's the sugar hangover.
Right. And, you know, the interesting thing is that, and this is like proven science all day long, is that when you wake up like that, then what happens is that any ability to have willpower slips, and we start craving the carbs, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
carbs are the first craving that we'll get, and then the sugar comes after the
Mm-hmm.
carbs. And it's just that, wheel that keeps on going.
It
And
does, and I find that when I kind of have the sugar hangovers, or I'm not sleeping well, the breakfast choices that I want are like those delicious French toast or pancakes. It's those, and I kind of try to fool myself with having a side of fruit salad to go with it. But you're right, it is. I mean, it's kind of like you're trying to recover from the sugar hangover with more sugar.
yeah, well, that's what we crave. I mean, and
Yes.
and you're right, because you were talking about how the condiments and things like that. I mean, just learning, I think, and for myself too, just learning where that sugar sneaks in, then you're capable and able to find alternatives. So then when you want something good, you want the chocolate that you really enjoy, then it's no big deal, because you're missing all that, and quite frankly, crap sugar that
Mm-hmm.
slithers in everywhere else. Uh,
Some people are wine connoisseurs or cheese connoisseurs. I'm kind of becoming a chocolate snob. Like I can walk down the aisles in like the grocery stores and the gas station stuff, and I'm like, that's just not good enough for me.
well,
Like,
you know what? That's awesome.
it is, because it does keep me away, because I'm like, it's not really worth it. Like I know I have that sugar fix, but it's just not really good.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning to save it for the nice dessert out, or buying the nice chocolate bar, or
Yeah.
something like that. But yes, my taste buds have become particular.
Oh, I mean, I love it though, right? Because I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying what you enjoy, right? Like, we should enjoy what we enjoy. Life's too short to, eat green beans every day. Nothing wrong with green beans, but at the same time, when we can learn to like really be discerning about the things that we want,
Mhm.
that's huge. And to be able to be discerning about the things we want. I mean, I love that. So, all right, if you were going to recommend this to a friend, what would you say to him? Like,
Do it. Give it a try.
yeah.
There's nothing to lose. There's absolutely nothing to lose, and you're not gonna die. You're gonna survive without your whatever preferred sweet treat, coffee, or dessert, or afternoon snack. And you gave us a lot of guidance and support on sort of alternatives, so that it wasn't just depriving yourself.
Well, that's true. I mean, that is, I guess, the whole program when you think about it. It's that there are alternatives out there, and then there are ways of shifting the habits to
Yes.
make it easy, right? I
Yes.
don't know if you remember, I'm not going to use names because that wouldn't be nice, but there was one person who was in the group that you were in, and when she when she came in, she actually had this deer in the headlights look when she heard 30 days. And she was like, wait a second, I thought this was 2 weeks. And she was quite frankly pissed at me. And I was like, you just do what you can do, right?
Right.
That person went ahead and did the 30 days. She's gone from doing the 30 days to shifting all kinds of habits that she had going on that she didn't like around
Mhm.
sugar, around sweets, around wine. She's
Mhm.
shifted those. She's lost 20 pounds. Like,
Yes.
she's dropped 20 pounds over the last 6 months, 7 months, probably, just by shifting. And then she's also picked up some habits that I find really funny, because she's like, I've been doing some of those things you told me to do or told us to do in the Sugar Freedom. I've been using them for other things. I'm like,
Yes.
look at you. You're brilliant.
No, it is, and it's not complicated.
No.
It's just for a lot of us, and this is myself for sure, I just kind of needed somebody to lay it out there for me, of, what to do, how to do it. And in my moments of panic, to be there and go, you're okay, you know the tools to do it. And another thing that was great about it was the group.
Yeah.
That I had others that were going through this with me, and I was with them. And so there was that kind of camaraderie of, there's someone there that, and in our group, we had a text group that, I could say, okay, I really wanted chocolate today, because everybody knew that was a real big thing for me. And there was support back of, you didn't do it, that's awesome, what did you do instead? And just a lot of support and dialogue.
A little bit of poking too.
Oh, yeah, there was, if somebody went silent, it was kind of like, we haven't heard from them in any way, shape, or form. What are you doing over there? Get out of the M&Ms. Because we had one that was known for M&Ms. And so it was a lot of fun with the group. And like I say, your guidance and your tips and your stumbling blocks. And we had some folks that were going on like vacations, and they're like, oh my gosh, we have this couples vacation and it's all about food and wine. What in the world am I going to do? And it was, you were giving her tips and tricks on kind of how to manage through that, and the rest of us were able to share our insights as well, and our support. And she had a great time, and it was a huge success. Was she 100% no sugar? Probably not, but she didn't completely jump off the wagon either.
Yeah. And that is it. It comes back to life, right? I mean, even when you're doing some sort of quote unquote challenge, or, an experiment for 30 days or whatever it is, if you knock it out the park with 80%, quite frankly, yes, like that's good, because I don't believe in just, all hard ass and if you fall off the wagon, you just might as well give up and, crawl back into the bag of M&Ms. It's not true. It's just, okay, I figured out what didn't work. Right?
Right.
Oh. So, I was going to say this, and you kind of answered this, but I'm just going to ask you this just to for clarification. If someone came in and they said, Jamie, I'm thinking about doing this, but I don't know, kind of sounds hokey, or it sounds awful, or like our one friend, it's more than 2 weeks. What would you say to them? Like, what would you say that, like, other than community, or maybe it is community, what would get them over the hump?
It kind of it's just keeps coming back to it's make the commitment. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's interesting to you at all, there's something there to follow.
Good point.
You somehow that you've just gone maybe a little too overboard with the sugar. And again, it's just go into it out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
To go back to your point, it doesn't have to be 80%. Or I'm sorry, it doesn't have to be 100%. 80% is great. Don't worry about being the A student that does everything perfect. There are no check boxes.
Right? It's so true.
And it's so worth your time and effort. You are going to learn something about your relationship with sugar. And in some way, there is going to be a positive change for you. Yeah. It's just, I mean, we saw it with everyone. There isn't anyone that didn't have some kind of a positive shift. Whether it's just realizing how much it's in your sugar and how much extra sugar you're getting way above what is recommended by anyone, To the example of the lady that ended up losing 20 pounds over the course of 7 months. You know, women in particular, there's very few of us that wouldn't take losing those 20 extra pounds over 7 months by doing one simple thing of reducing sugar.
Yeah.
But it does, as you said, it does have impacts on other parts of your life as well. And you learn new habits. And, you know, maybe having that bit more of energy allows you to want to go for a 10 or 15-minute walk. Maybe that builds to a 30-minute walk. And we all know that that movement, as simple as 15 minutes a day, can be huge in your overall health.
Yeah.
And getting more energy. So getting rid of the sugar and gaining energy. So then being able to do movement that gives you even more energy. Like those compounding things are just, it was quite surprising to me when I, you know, in being in the program, I was focused on the sugar. So I was really aware of the changes that were happening because I didn't change anything else. That's all I did for those 30 days was just the sugar program. I didn't start exercising a bunch. I didn't start some, you know, a paleo or some other type of diet. I just did what I did with being aware of sugar consumption.
Yeah, that's super smart. Thank you. Yeah, and it's so good for me to hear that because it reminds me, like, you said something a minute ago that I just have to bring up. And you said that if it rings a bell or if it catches your attention, then there's probably something there that you need to look at.
There's most certainly something there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so true. And I mean, it's so true in my life too. Like when something triggers me, I'm like, okay, maybe I ought to pay attention to this instead of rough it under the rug. Yeah. So
And
true.
especially if it comes up multiple times.
Right.
That is your body saying, hello, pay attention, pay attention.
When you're putting your fingers in your ears, it's time to pay attention.
Yes, very true.
Or the chocolate in your mouth and the fingers in your ear at the same time. Oh, well, thank you so much. Before I cut you off, is there anything else you'd like to add? I really appreciate you being here.
You know, Kelly, you've made this really fun. You've made something that seemed daunting and uncertain, something that was really fun and not a stereotypical kind of cookie cutter thing. It's just not. It was a group setting, but it felt very personal to me at the same time.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Because if you know me, you know that I do like fun.
You do. You certainly do.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Jamie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.